everyone. Welcome to Hispanic Conservative. This is Celia. How are you? I just wanted to do a couple updates, but first, let me say if you could please like, share it if you think it's necessary or it would help someone, subscribe. That would help me grow this channel too. I did want to mention that I'm trying to make the videos a little bit shorter and give more verbal information because for me, in the morning, like when I'm getting dressed, I'm not watching a video. I'm probably in bed with my head turned over this way listening, or I'm in my dressing area and it's on the other side of the wall from my TV, so I can't see the screen. And sometimes people would say, "Oh, look at this, look at that." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know what you're showing because I'm not looking at the screen." So I want to make it so that you can get the information while you're driving or while you're getting dressed, while you're doing dishes or whatever you're doing. So that's what I want to do. And I want to try to keep them a little bit shorter than what they have been. So let me go ahead and get started. Okay, so last week, Jack Smith resigned the special counsel. He was with the Justice Department working on two criminal cases against Donald Trump. You know, I was so glad when he when he left. And I'm thinking, it wouldn't be a good plan to go work somewhere where you went after your future boss if you stayed working there, because that would be a very contentious relationship, you know. Do you like your boss? Okay. Second thing I want to say, number 2. If y'all know who Andrew Tate is, he's very outspoken. Now, he's one of the people that the deep state is going after because he's got certain values and what do you call it? I guess more conservative manly roles, the female roles, right? That kind of thing. So he had put out a video about BRUV Party, British Restoring Underlying Values. Now, this is pretty good. Now, if you know who Nigel Farage is, he's they're not conservative. It's not the Conservative Party because the Conservative Party in the UK was kind of actually falling through the cracks and following a lot of the Labor lead, like some of the Republicans, what we call rhinos here in the United States, follow the Democrats' lead, and they're not really doing for us, right? So a lot of people I know in the UK, from what I'm hearing from Meyer and Jeff and Talk and GB, all these other channels that I watch, a lot of people are fed up there, just like we are here in the States, about what is going on with the crime, the illegals, just everything, the inflation, cost of energy, all this other kind of thing. Okay. So anyway, Andrew Tate put out a video. You could probably find it here on YouTube. I don't remember who put it out, but he's talking about a lot of these things. Now, if you go to the website votebruv.co.uk, VOTEBRUV.co.uk, you will find the charter. And a lot of things in the charter he talks about. I'm just going to list them real quick. Healthcare, migration control, reform of the BBC, because that turned into a propaganda, you know, outlet. And I used to think Sky News was, on the goods, but Sky News turns out it's kind of like halfway between the BBC and GB News. I don't know. Somebody might disagree or think it's more one way than the other. I don't really watch Sky News much anymore. I used to. If I watch any news clips from the UK, I watch GB News or there's Talk TV. Um, Other subjects about culture, British culture, maintaining British culture, protecting children for sure because of what's going on, what is probably still going on, what has been going on, and education. Okay, no foreign aid, no foreign wars. That's what I say here too in the United States. Let's just mind our own business and keep our military in our country. We don't need to be in all these countries, and we don't need to be the fighting people, right? Like cousins or nephews, or even in the classroom, being a teacher, you hate to see those kids get drafted and go to war for something that isn't even our war, right? So, and then the last thing he also talked about was the fair tax system. Now, if you watch the video, there's going to be other things. He does have I think he has an account for the BRUV Party on X. If you want to check that out along with his regular Andrew Tate account. What was I going to say? Between him, okay, remember I was talking about the values and fighting for what's right against crime and all these other kinds of things. The deep state has gone against him, right? When he lives in Romania, he and his brother, they had brought charges against them. They went to court, they were in prison, they went through all this stuff, and then I think they just dropped it or whatever. So it's like, because there was nothing there, right? Just like with President Trump, it's the same thing, putting charges on somebody when there is really nothing there. Okay, like other people, they've done that too. Tommy Robinson, he's in jail again for contempt of court, because he didn't want to show his phone when the police were going to arrest him, because he had some like contact information or personal information about some of the victims, and he didn't want the police to have that. Because if you know the cover up of what's going on over there, girls would get raped, and the police, they would go to the police and tell them this is happening and this and that, and they were like, oh, just go home and you'll be fine or whatever. They would send them away. They didn't even want to make a report. They didn't want to start problems with the non-natives, I'll put it that way. So these poor girls, and this has been going on for decades. I remember when Tommy Robinson was first starting talking about this was back in, I want to say, somewhere between 2010 and 2015. So he's been bringing this to light for a long time, and then a while I think he was quiet. I think he was probably in jail there for a while. Then it finally came out again, and now it's really getting covered. A lot more people, and to be honest, the Labor Party right now, they're still trying to cover it up, because they had a vote about, should we have inquiries, right, investigations into who's doing what or where, follow the trail. And the Labor Party is like, no, we're not going to do investigating of anything of any kind. That ought to tell you right there that they're up to something, and they're hiding things. They know who these people are. And even probably some of the politicians are in on it, because they covered up part of the royals and people along those lines. So the deep state's going after these people, but Andrew Tate is coming out and he wants to get Britain back where it belongs, the UK back to where it belongs. Okay, what was my next on my list? I don't want to do that one. No. House passes ban, number 3. House passes ban on trans athletes in women's sports. I was trying to put that the right way. That was in the House in the United States, so it'll go to the Senate. The last time this happened, the Senate did not pass it because it was a Democrat majority, right? Now there's a little bit more of Senate, in the Senate, Republican majority. So maybe, hopefully, we'll get that, because we need to keep boys out of girls' sports. I would not want to walk now, being a female in a school. Me being a teacher, if I go to the student restroom, I'm not going to want to find a boy in there who looks like a girl. You know what I'm saying? No, no. Or a kid that I know that is a boy in the girls' restroom. That, nope. Got to go to your place. My opinion, yeah. All right. If you saw any of the confirmation hearing for Pete Hegseth yesterday, go check out some highlights. If you didn't, if you have some time, you can always speed up the speed. What do you call it? You know what I mean. Speed it up if you wanted to go a little bit faster. Find a shorter version of it and then go faster. She was just yelling and raising her arm and getting all animated and whatever. And I'm just like, oh, this girl needs to calm down. Now, good for Pete. I'm for you. Today, what I saw, I didn't see anything of Marco Rubio, but I did watch some of Pam Bondi. And Adam Schiff gave her, he was just trying to get her to answer one way. And she's like, I'm not going to get political about it. You're trying to get me in to catch this and that. And I'm like, oh, good. She knows. I mean, she's a smart lady. So she knows. And she even said something to Adam Schiff about, you were the one that was censured for making comments like this before. Da, 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 da. I was like, oh, that was so good. Okay. The other thing, let me see if I can squeeze it in. I know it's already 10 minutes. $770 per person in California from the wildfires. And Biden said, you know, this money you could use it for prescriptions or if you need baby formula, things that you need right now, usable items, I guess. And I'm like, everybody else is going to need way more than $770. This is crazy. And I think even in North Carolina, it was less than that, like maybe 750 or something. Another idea that's out there. Yeah, I didn't do this one. One, two, three, four, five. Number five. Um, there's a lot of people out there who think that the fires in California. I mean, okay, we've all seen video and we've heard about people setting fires. Okay, if they're homeless or whatever, they're trying to keep warm, or if they're foreign, whatever it is. But some people speculating that probably people are getting paid to do this. Okay, now that it's already all done, but one of the speculations is also that the fires were meant to destroy so that they can build the smart city on top of it. Those 15-minute cities, you don't own anything and you'll be happy. You won't own a car, you won't own a house. It'll be all like in the future where you live in a place and it's not yours, you don't own it. You just go to work or you get a UBI and then you're like, okay, I guess I'm just here living in my little place. I mean, it's probably going to be something. I can't even imagine how these things are going to look like Soviet style apartments. Very plain and boring. I mean, that's what comes to mind for me. One, two, three, four, five. And then External Revenue Service. President Trump put this in to collect the tariffs and the duties of foreign countries, right? Instead of taxing us, the people, making us poor, well, all we do is, I know there's a lot of people in Texas. Texas, it isn't that bad because we do not have a state income tax, but they do tax us in other ways, like property tax is really ridiculous, right? Our sales tax isn't bad, but even talking about tax on things, the gasoline prices right now, because I have a gas station right across from where I live, and the diesel price is up to like $3.20, which is a lot because before the Christmas break in December, I had bought it for maybe like 270, 280, and now it's 30, 40 cents more. If you use a discount card, you get 10 cents off, but still, it's still a lot of money. Oh, and anyway, the External Revenue Service is going to be collecting all those fees and whatever. So we are not the ones getting taxed to death. There's a video out there, 13 minutes. There's a video out there about from Valuetainment. I know PBD did it, talking about how the U.S. government ran on tariffs before there was any such thing as an income tax. Right, the government ran on the tariffs that it collected. Right, so we didn't have to pay taxes. So President Trump wants to kind of go back to that old way of doing. Then let's go. I would love to keep more of my own money. And we shouldn't even be doing income tax returns anyway, because there's no law that says we have to pay income tax. There was a case of a man who was investigating someone and he found that there was no law about having to do income tax. So I don't know, because all they do is turn it in. If you know, all they do is turn it into other people who are not really a government agency, put it that way. Yep. And red dye number 3 is banned. Is that what I read? I just saw that today real quick in a headline and I just was like, oh, that's a good thing. Now we have some of these red sodas. I'm wondering what that's going to actually do with that. And if that red dye number 3 is from that little bug parasite thing, I don't know. If you know on that one. If you've seen it, you might know what I'm talking about. But I don't know. I don't know if it comes from that carmine, I think is what it's called. But it's made from that little red bug, which is quite disgusting. I don't know. I used to love red soda when I was younger. Okay, so anyway, now we're at about 15 minutes. Like I said, go ahead and like, subscribe, please, and share if you think anybody needs this information. I'm going to try to keep these, well, it's 15 minutes now, on the short side. And remember, you can always fasten. You can always make the video a little bit faster when you're listening to it. Sometimes I do videos at 1.25 or 1.5 speed faster than what they're originally recorded, because sometimes I'm just like, okay, let's go. All right. And I'm trying to talk fast already, so it might it might sound funny. But anyway, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, please, if you don't mind. And I think that's all I have to say for now. I'll try to get some other information out that's important. Anyway, this is Celia for Hispanic Conservative, and I am out.